I guess that's where we start them, because what were we doing? We were sitting in this space together being, which we do quite often. We just sit together and be because um, there's an energetic enlivening process that occurs within in that space. And maybe we just talk a little bit about that.
Mm.
Hmm. What the experience is of that. Do you want me to start? Because
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Go on.
okay, so generally when we sit in silence together, I feel within my body lots of movement, like the cells within my body are increasing the frequency at which they are vibrating. And the longer that we sit, the longer that sometimes that process is in certain parts of my body. Sometimes it feels all over me. Sometimes it kind of roams. And I need to move a little sometimes to get it to flow into other places, or just bringing conscious attention to it allows it to move. But it really feels like it's kind of enlivening the cells or something. And there's such a beautiful feeling of, um, it makes me smile. I feel like I want to smile because it just feels so joyful. And so much kind of from there's a purity of kind of infinite love and joy to it. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah,
Yes.
and to me, when we began sitting, being together, it was immediately an embrace from outside. And today it was very much sound related. So within the silence that we are, there are like those infinite sounds. And yeah, and they kind of embracing me and embracing us as if they were actually accompanying, you know, as if, well, I guess they are accompanying, I guess they are all part of this situation that
Mm.
we are co-creating. So very often for me, it's the enlivening within, which is accompanied by the aliveness of the space around. And
Wow, that's cool.
I've also experienced the border-free states between the inner and the outer,
Mm.
somewhere
Yeah.
there on the way.
Yeah, I've experienced a similar thing at different times too.
Mm.
Depending, I guess, I'm not sure what creates the different responses on some days than others. But yeah, those things you said. I also get a occasionally my mind will wander through things, but I'm able to just kind of observe my thoughts and they just kind of flow. They just kind of flow and process through. I don't kind of linger on any one of them too much. And occasionally I will um purposely get very inward and sort of focus in on what's occurring within the oneness. And I notice if I do that, I find that it kind of amplifies that kind of the experience that I'm having if I do that. So often I will attempt, if I find my thoughts are racing across with things too much, I will go into that really inner place, into that kind of infinite place, or that oneness where I'm feeling all of that beautiful energy that's happening, and it just amplifies it even more. And I'm able to kind of feel more into that what state of borderlessness that you're talking about.
Mm.
Yeah,
And
which
now
I really
I wonder if we could just go in. I mean, anyway, it's there, because we are sitting
Mm.
and being. It's just that we are adding the language in an attempt to verbalize the non-verbalizable. But yeah, like if we could just go into this experiment of kind of connecting into the experience of the now, and describing it to the best of what the words can express. Just travel in a little bit through this now, now, taking it from now into the now.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Well, firstly, I'll just say that it's almost as though I have a reluctance to actually verbalize anything because the longer we sit in that state, the more I just want to stay in the silence. Do you feel that?
Well, I
It's
can
just such a...
imagine. I can imagine. I'm not experiencing this now, but I can well kind of imagine and understand.
Mm,
Though to
yeah.
me now, for example, the space is very full.
Mm,
It's very full and again very soundful. And through this fullness of the sound, it's very charged.
mm,
Especially now from the back of mine, as if I was being embraced in a very supportive and loving way.
mm.
Kind of, yes, yes. Through half of a circle, through my whole back.
I feel that definite electrical charge and definitely charged everywhere around and that fullness, like you're saying. Um, I don't feel being embraced from behind though. What I feel is mostly in these upper heart center here. This sort of expansiveness and um kind of like what I guess the best way I could describe it as would be kind of like there's no other really word other than love, but it's like a higher love. It's like from a higher heart, not just from the normal heart, not just from the beating human heart, if you know what I mean. It's like a bigger, expansive kind of higher heart space. Um, but definitely that expansiveness all around, like and the charged energy and the sound thing too, like you said, I get a lot more sensitive to sounds. I feel more sensitive to sounds. Which often happens when we sit and be in this space because the tiniest little sound that normally might not create an effect seems to have a very large effect. Mm.
Yeah, to me this experience of the heart is almost as if there is there is no heart within me.
Mm.
Like it's really like when I put my hand on the chest, I connect into a space. Yeah, into some kind of space which I experience as very spacious. Yes, which I mean has no kind of connection to the understanding and the experiencing of love as we are kind of experiencing it here.
Mm. It's more expansive, isn't it? It's like a higher kind of sort of a purer, sort of a source kind of a love. I feel anyway.
Mm.
That's why I like to call it infinite love, because it's in that sort of space, like within the now, like, the more that we have experienced this together or experienced this together, the more I have found the ability to find that feeling within now moments, more and more nows in my life in every day. So it's that kind of it's that connecting into that kind of source space of love that runs through creation. It's this creative, joyful kind of a love that's way more expansive than than um just like the human understanding of love, I feel.
Yes, infinite. I also wanted to. It's like when you talk about the infinite, So I put this hand on the chest, and then this space opens, and when I go into, it's like it like through the back of my heart, it continues into the infinite as somehow like, and it's to me it's kind of, it's in a way, or in many ways, or it's just how it is. It's kind of non-emotional.
Mm.
It's something which
It just is.
it just is. It just says yes, but not in any kind of attempt to accept, because there is no need for acceptance. There is no
Mm.
need for anything. It just is.
Mm.
So this yes is not an answer to any kind of parameter, to any requirement, to any need.
Mm.
It's the beingness, and
Mm.
within which there is no need for any, like, yeah.
Mm. Yeah. And that's why it's difficult to find the words, because it just kind of just is. And there's so much joy in the awareness of it, or within it itself, even. I just get this full joyful kind of a buzz. Um, yeah. It's definitely that infinite kind of I think this is the key to understanding properly, or understanding, experiencing, embodying the now, is this. Like, people talk a lot about the now, and living in the now, and experiencing in the now. And you can mentally try to understand that, but there's that no amount of mental comprehension is what this is, just being in this state, in this place.
Yes, because I guess, like, it's just like with any kind of parameter, or any kind of concept, or creation, or experience. Like we begin where we begin, but with any kind of state. I guess if you really decide to experience the something from the within of now, like the absolutely whole different new perspective opens.
Mm. Mm. It does. And it's perspective that's not limited. It's got this like there's so much expansion within it. Um, yeah. And I don't know, I just feel like it's so this is the draw card to wanting to, to feeling to being in this, just being, because this is the experience of being. And there's like unlimited, like the infinite isn't just infinite love. There's like infinite everything in this. Infinite potential, infinite creation, infinite whatever it is that you prefer to align to, I guess, or be with. I don't know. It's just the words are hard to find, but do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, and at the same time, whenever we experience, whenever we choose to be, I actually have no need to choose anything or to decide onto
Mm,
anything which is within there.
mm.
It's like
It's just enough.
yeah, it feels like the experience is so kind of fulfilling in the self.
Yeah.
It's just like like what what else, what for, why, like
Yes.
really it's also tricky for the mind, because how we are programmed to create, to create, and then you
Mm.
come into the experience of pure creation. And then I just like, well, yes, of course I'm creating it all, and then there is no need, there is no impulse. It's so, yeah, it's so fulfilling in a way.
Yeah, because it is creation. Just being within it is creating, isn't it? There's no need to think of anything to create because the existence is already there. The life's already happening. The creation's already being. Hey, it's so cool. See the joy? It's awesome. Mm. And this is why I value you so much. I value having found you and coming into this space with you, and being able to be in this place, in this state, in this presence of, or I don't know how you even word it, in the all that isness.
Yeah, and it all happened very naturally. Huh? It just it just happened.
Mm.
Like it happened when we kind of came into the shared time space, into the shared reality, and
Yeah. Mm. And just recognizing it. Actually, I think you recognized it first, and then well, I guess we both recognized it, but it was just that I remember the let's just sit in silence and be, and
which
that
I would
even that
never, which I would never do before. I would never
yeah,
sit in silence in my life. I would never ever meditate. Like I would meditate in motion, through motion, with dance, becoming, being dance. But like to sit and to be was no go for me. And then when we started, like when we kind of came together, it's just like, well, of course, like what else, like like there's like
exactly.
oh, like so like if I look at it now, for me, like the it's really like a 180 degrees of
Mm,
like of a, yeah, change of perspective.
mm,
And I wonder, I've been wondering, like because I like, yeah, I've been wondering, but I guess there is something in our us being together which kind of, yes, which kind of allows me to be.
mm. Yeah. I know it was interesting to me when you said that to me, because I have actually I sit a lot in stillness and just be in meditation, and I've been doing this for a while, and but this was is a different experience for me as well, because often I would have to do a process or a procedure or something to get myself into a state of that meditative state. So usually I do quantum flow or quantum breath or something, or I do some kind of shamanic drumming, or listen to something that would get me into that state. Do you know what I mean? Not just be able to just kind of sit there, but just the ability to just be in presence with you and be able to pretty much instantly be able to drop into that place of oneness and that place of stillness is pretty amazing. And also, even just to add to that, is since we have been doing this now for I don't know how many months, but there's times even not in presence with you as we are now, or connected in a through technology in any way, where I can just go into that place as well, just by merely thinking, feeling, or just kind of remembering, I guess, remembering this state, and I can drop into it fairly quickly, and go and feel this. It's not quite as amplified as when we are connected, but it is still, especially if I sit in a meditative state long enough, I can get into a very kind of, into the same kind of vibration a bit, just by feeling or connecting into the oneness that we feel when we're in this state together. So that's pretty cool as well. And that helps me in lots of other ways, because I can get into this expansive place and get back into the present. It helps me live more of my life in that place of the now. That's awesome too. Hence the reason I keep telling you, thank you, because the absolute gratitude I have for this gift that you are in my life, and this gift that this connection we have here is just beyond words as well. And mental comprehension. I've tried to go through the over analytical mind stuff. It does kind of mess with the mind, because the mind wants to always understand and label and have explanations for everything that are clear. And I've kind of got to a state where I told you before, I surrendered to this place of oneness and being, because when I do that, my mind doesn't necessarily have to understand anymore. I just allow with gratitude. There's so much gratitude.